Let's transition a little bit. It wouldn't be a normal show if we didn't talk about the NFL.
Have to talk about the NFL.
Big news coming out of California. The Raiders have just voted on moving to Las Vegas, and it was approved. 31 of 32 owners, voted for this.
Right.
Me personally, I don't really like the move. I know it's better for the franchise. They're going to make more money. The facilities in Oakland aren't good. When it rains at the games, it rains in the press box. It's better for that standpoint. I feel so bad for the fans there. They've been there for the past 58 years, something like that.
And so dedicated.
Most loyal fans I can think of, other than the Cleveland Browns. Because they're terrible and they're still
going out
selling
there.
out.
Dog pound.
So I'm not a big fan of it at all. I think it's just all about the money and what's best for the NFL.
The NFL's a business. You got at the end of the day, you have to do what can make your team money. And I agree. I don't love the move, but I think this era in Las Vegas could be good. And they're not moving for 2 more years. Last year, if Derek Carr didn't get hurt, the Raiders realistically could have won the Super Bowl.
They could have.
So maybe they can go out with a bang.
That'd be
the ultimate bang.
Probably the best way a team could go out of their city.
Going out, right?
But then the fans are going to be furious because we just won a championship and now you're gone.
Headed to Las Vegas.
You're gone. Let's keep this rolling here. We got the draft coming up soon, April 27th to the 29th in Philly. Vols Pro Day is coming up this week. It begins March 30th at 9 a.m. here on Rocky Top. Where do you think these former Vols are going to land?
Right. There are a bunch of former Vols projected to be drafted. Obviously the first one off the board should be Derek Barnett. Here we see Alvin Kamara, who's also going to be a first-round pick. Hopefully. First or second-round pick, I think.
I could see him going first round. Here you just see how elusive he is and how difficult it is to bring him down, even though he's a smaller back.
He has such great balance in the field. Josh Malone. I do think he's going to go a little bit later. Where do you have Malone going?
I could see Malone going, possibly the 4th round. I think the highest would be the 3rd round. There's wide receivers, there's so much depth. Here we see Derek Barnett flying past Cam Robinson, who had just no shot of stopping him at all. But back to Malone, there's so much talent on that wide receiver board that it's going to be tough for him to go early in the draft. I could see him going maybe to, I don't know. Honestly, there's a lot of teams that need receiver help. New Orleans just got rid of Brandon Cooks. Maybe he can go there in the 4th round. They always tend to
stockpile on guys.
Yeah, and they make the most out of their receivers, always.
Let's go through some other Vols in the draft.
Okay.
I have Malone going a little bit lower than you. I think he'll be probably a day 3 guy, 5th or 6th round pick.
I can see that too.
How about Cam Sutton, a guy that a lot of teams like?
See, if Sutton would have came out last season, if he would have went into the draft last year, I think he would have been 2nd round, possibly a 1st round pick.
Right.
But he came back, he wanted the SEC championship. He wanted to go to the playoffs. I think, him getting hurt and missing 5-6 games, whatever it was, I think that really, really hurt him. Now I could see him going probably 4th, 5th round. People, experts, quote-unquote experts, haven't really been talking about him too much. They've been obsessed with the LSU, Ohio State guys, Right. I definitely see him getting picked up, though.
I like Sutton a little bit more than that. I think he should be a pretty firm 3rd round pick.
Okay.
Because I think he's going to pan out really well in the NFL as a slot corner.
Yeah.
He's only 5'11", but he's so fast. He's such a good return man too. But I think he's going to be a great slot corner in the NFL. He can fly across the field. He's really good at lining up anywhere on the field. He doesn't have to play just on the right side or just on the left or just in the middle. He can play anywhere. And I think a team's going to draft him, let him sit for a year, be their kick returner, and then have him tried out there as that nickel corner. I think he's going to be a good NFL
nickel
player.
/ dime starting out. Okay, I can see that. Let's get into the 3 biggest names on this list. Let's start off with Kamara.
Okay.
I could see Kamara going in the 1st round.
I could too. It's down to him and McCaffrey for that 3rd running back slot.
Yeah.
Because I think Kamara's pretty firmly behind both Dalvin Cook and Leonard Fournette.
Yeah.
But him and McCaffrey, they both had very similar combines. They both did pretty well. Neither of them were particularly fast in the 40.
No, 4.5.
4.5,
yeah.
Right. But I do think Kamara's going to translate as a better runner in the NFL. McCaffrey might be the best receiving back in the league.
Yeah.
in the future. But I do really like Kamara. I think he'll probably be an early second-round pick. I think I would take McCaffrey above him. I apologize.
Oh, yeah. No, I see what you're saying. McCaffrey was a stud in college. I mean, he put up numbers that people just don't put up,
Right. Modern NFL really helps both of these guys because McCaffrey is such a great pass catcher, but so is Kamara.
You can line both of them out in the slot, and they can both be a legitimate wide receiver.
Dalvin Cook, too.
Dalvin Cook as well. I mean, he's got great ball skills and great hands and everything. I could see Kamara or McCaffrey, but I would rather see Kamara go to Green Bay. I see him in the backfield with Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know. It fits, the way they kind of just scramble around and have these little dink and dunk plays. And Rodgers always has these athletes who can just take the ball and go with it. The Randall Cobbs, the Ty Montgomery, who just surprised everybody this season.
I love Ty Montgomery.
I do too, and that's a big thing too. You got to think about. I mean,
and that running back depth. If they're going to start him next year, fully transition him to running back, obviously that would lessen their need for someone like
Kamara.
Kamara.
But I mean, they did just get rid of Eddie Lacy, and that's going to play a big impact. I mean, their running back play was awful last year, except for the spurts that Montgomery had. For the most part, it was horrid. So I could see Kamara going to Green Bay. Now let's talk about Barnett. Barnett, arguably one of the greatest Tennessee Volunteers of all time. Broke Reggie White's sack record in 3 years. I could see him going as early, maybe a little bit earlier, but I could see him going to New Orleans at the 11th pick.
Okay.
Their defense is terrible. They're nothing but flash, and they can score with anybody, but they can't stop anybody at all. So I think having an addition like him to the team, where he can come around the edge, and most teams probably would have him as a 3-4 outside linebacker who could put his hand down on pass rush situations and get around the edge. I could see him making a big impact to this defense. How about you?
I think Derek Barnett is great. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say he's better than Myles Garrett.
I agree.
Myles Garrett appears to have that number 1 pick locked up.
It's his size, in my opinion.
Right. So I won't go ahead and put Barnett ahead of him. But I love Derek Barnett. I think he's going to be a great NFL player, and I would not be surprised to see him go anywhere between 10 and 25 in this draft. Okay. And if he falls lower than that, any team should be scooping him up.
Whoever gets him, if he falls that low, I mean, that's probably the biggest steal of the draft. One more guy we got to talk about, Josh Dobbs. He didn't – he showed a lot of weaknesses, in my opinion, his college career, throwing the ball, his accuracy and everything, but he showed a lot of upside and promise as well. I mean, he'd made some plays. I just don't know how he did it.
Right.
Particularly his running plays where he just takes off for 65 yards and nobody touches him. But, one thing you can't teach is, his knowledge and the fact that he is an aerospace engineer major and he can pick up any system you want. I mean, even if you don't want him to start, he could still be your Charlie Whitehurst clipboard Jesus for a little bit before you groom him into the NFL. I could see Dobbs possibly getting drafted 6th, 7th round if he gets drafted. Other than that, he's probably going to be a free agent pickup.
I actually really like Dobbs as an NFL quarterback. I 100% think if you switched him and Russell Wilson in their time, that he could be doing exactly what Russell Wilson is doing today. And that's not exactly a slight on Russell Wilson as much as it is the Seahawks, their offense, the way they run with the mobile quarterback. I think Dobbs is smart enough and talented enough to pick up in most mobile schemes and be a really strong quarterback. He's, as you said, he's really smart. His passing improved throughout the season, especially throughout his senior season. By the end of the year, by the bowl game, he was throwing great balls.
Yeah, and he looked great in the Combine and Senior Bowl. So I'm really looking forward to his pro day. Hopefully he can show to everybody that he deserves to be selected in the draft.
So Dobbs is a mobile quarterback who reminds me a little bit of, dare I say, Nevada Colin Kaepernick.
Okay, I can see that a little bit, the elusiveness, but why don't we switch this over and talk about Kaepernick a little bit?
Because everyone has to.
Everybody knows all the buzz that went around Kaepernick this past season, not standing for the national anthem, standing up for what he believed in. Good for him. But is the NFL blackballing him right now? It's free agency is coming to an end here the next couple weeks, and he still is yet to sign to a team. I mean, this isn't a guy who came out of college and wasn't good. I mean, he took the starting spot from Alex Smith, led the team to the Super Bowl. He had crazy playoff games. That game against the Packers ran for like 200-something yards. This is a great talent. I mean, it's just, I feel like something with the coaching, something happened mentally for him to lose his confidence. I think he needs to be signed soon, and whoever does, they've got a good football player.
I 100%. I could not agree more. And I think the character, everyone's like he's an off-field liability. Is he really? I mean, next season he said he's going to be standing for the pledge.
Yeah.
Whether or not you believe that's important, whether or not you believe he should be allowed to kneel and stand up for like what he said he believes in, he's not going to be doing that anymore. And you've seen things. He donated a bunch of money to Somalia.
$50,000.
Right. He's been an off-field, really good presence over the last couple of months. Honestly, I don't think he's an off-field distraction. I would sign Colin Kaepernick.
I think he's
a better quarterback than some of these guys getting deals.
Mike Glennon, he's just as good. He's
contract.
Produced way more than Mike Glennon has, and he got a $16 million a year contract. I think that's right?
Like that. $45 million.
That just blows my mind. I mean, the media just portrayed him in a bad way, in my opinion. You know, the negativity towards him not standing for the national anthem, he wasn't. I'm trying to word this right. He was just trying to, get everybody's, to focus on issues that are going on in America and what that need to be fixed and, taken care of. And everybody needs to, pay attention to him. So I think that's really what he was doing, just trying to be a voice. I don't think he needs to be punished by being, quote-unquote, blackballed by the NFL. He's got to get signed, and I think it's very important that he gets signed.
I agree. I think he's a good quarterback.